So what is NLP? And you hear about neuro-linguistic programming. And people want to break it up into neurology. What is your body saying? Your body is feeling, it's feeling, it's seeing, it's hearing, it's listening to its own self-talk. These, people have heard of VACOG. VACOG is visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory. So that can be neurology. What your body is feeling, made of. What's its state? And then we have linguistics, so neuro-linguistic programming. And I'm going to come to the whole concept of NLP, but I'm going to break it down first. So neuro, we've done. Linguistic. What is linguistic? Linguistics is the language, the words. And where are our words coming from? Where does it have to first appear and then it comes out from our mouth? It comes into our thoughts. The words manifest first in our thoughts, the internal chatter. People talk about the monkey mind, that internal chatter. Yes, no, comparing yourself to others, feeling like something that you're not really is empowering, feeling amazing, ecstatic that you're feeling. Those are things that the feelings come from the words that are in your mind. So that's linguistic, that was linguistic. And then programming is how do we chain the two? How do we connect the two? Not chain, because that's different. And I have to be so specific with my language. And that's what neuro-linguistic programming does. You have to be so precise. We call it precision in language. We have to be so precise with the words we use. Every single word we use has a very explicit meaning or an implicit meaning. Depends on your motor programs, the way you are actually thinking, the way you hear things, the way you speak things, and the way the process of how you do it in your mind and how you do it in your body. And that connection of how you do it in your mind to how you do it in your body, that's neuro-linguistic programming done in a very clinical, written way. But the actual concept of neuro-linguistic programming is that it is a science of excellence. A science of excellence. How can a science of excellence exist? I mean, aren't we all wanting to have that science of excellence in how we think, move, achieving our goals, having success, feeling success? You might be successful in your career, but then you don't feel the success inside yourself. You might have lots of money, but then you're alone. You might want a relationship. But we're talking about neuro-linguistic programming in every area of your life. So you have that holistic way of living, way of being. And if you're a coach and you haven't done NLP, then you need to get going, because you're going to be left on the bandwagon off. You're going to be left off the bandwagon. Like, people are moving. There's so many people signing up for neuro-linguistic programming. It is top-notch because we go into the deeper core levels of your mind, your body, your soul. Not with neuro-linguistic programming. It's not part, the traditional NLP is not part of the spiritual realm, but there's a next level. Because of that modeling of excellence, that is key. And when you can replicate it, that is neuro-linguistic programming. And if you can master your mind, master your body, master your life, what else do you need? You can master anything. When you do that inside you, you can have such great influence on society. And I don't mean manipulate, because in the past they've used neuro-linguistic programming to manipulate for a bad intention. But now we use neuro-linguistic programming for a good intention, to spread the goodness of our relationships. And when we can have good relationships in our personal lives, with our clients, with every person we touch in our lives, then you feel fulfilled, right? For those of us who have done inner work, you know that. You feel fulfilled. You feel totally amazing when you can touch people in that way. So NLP is literally not something that you have learned in the books, because doing it in the books, I tell you, that's just having competence in reading. But when you apply it, that's different. Like people could use NLP for gaining something selfish for themselves, and that's like, you know, borderline manipulation, borderline persuasion. I mean, I can give you a knife and you could chop up some vegetables, but I can give you a knife and then you can go kill an animal or something, which is chopping up vegetables is something positive, and then killing an animal in my world is something negative. And so when we have tools, even your words that you use can either make or break somebody. Like words are so powerful. Words can be extremely harsh. Words can be extremely loving. You know, we use words, read storybooks and nighttime bed stories for our kids so that we can impact them on and influence them on having a greater life, because stories are metaphors. And with NLP, we have a thing called metaphors, and most people call it analogies. So these are like really simple, basic things about NLP that are so powerful, but so small and tiny that you can actually implement them. And so why NLP? I mean, I've dedicated my life now to help other people learn about NLP, transform their entire life, and I also help them with other modalities. But I'm just talking about NLP right now, because today what we're doing, I was helping the Tad James Company. I just had the privilege and the honor to be serving with the Tad James Company. I'm serving as a coaching assistant, and I'm, you know, wanting to get my certification in master trainer. So you have to start with the first thing. You have to learn the basics, the foundational work. You have to learn your foundation. So to learn that, we have this level, which I'm going to be offering to you, a practitioner level, where it's very foundational. So if you've only learned NLP from books or watching videos like I Am Not Your Guru, but done by Tony Robbins, he uses NLP, or you watch the news. The news is they're using NLP and they're anchoring in stuff. Have you watched adverts on TV like Hungry Jack's and McDonald's and Pepsi and Coke? They are all anchoring in something into your neurology, into your body. You either have an aversion to it or you absolutely love it. And notice that every time you listen to those ads, they're having an effect on you unconsciously. So you can, you know, turn it off, or if you turn it off during the ads, I turn off my ads if I'm watching Netflix. I don't watch TV because I don't want all that subtle, unconscious mind, hypnotic languages that they use, because I'm so aware of what is coming through that little TV box. I don't want it. I don't want to be influenced by anybody else except for what I want to put into my temple. This is my temple. My entire body is my temple. Protect yourselves, people, because they will not tell you. This is how you are controlled. And it's not like you are, if you don't give permission to control you, people will control you. Like, you give permission indirectly to be controlled when you turn that TV on. Yeah? You don't like what I'm saying, you can turn me off, that's okay. But I'm saying something that's truth here, because maybe look at it. Be open to looking at it. What are those subliminal messages that are coming through the marketing? Even you're scrolling down Facebook, you're scrolling down Instagram, you're scrolling down YouTube videos. I know I'm guilty of that, and you can get so sucked in to people's stories and people's little posts, even memes, and people hit like for things that sometimes I just go, no, I can't like that. And I think people are just assuming, instead of having your own self thinking for yourself, not just hitting like on everybody's ways and things. We have to think before we hit like. We have to think before we give that love heart to somebody. We have to think before we even, what do we stand for? And our unconscious mind is listening to us all the time. That self-talk that's going on in your mind, in your head, that's your unconscious mind listening to it, listening to everything that you are saying in your mind. Sorry about the little tingling there, but that's maybe an anchor. And that anchor, like, you know, you have jingles on your advertising, marketing, and they have little jingles, and that anchors you back to that old feeling of that same ad. So when you see something, you don't have to see it for a while, and then if you've seen it enough times, it just reroutes your neurology back to that same old thought that you had before when you were seeing that ad before. So it's all very, very clever. They're all very, very clever. And notice in the movies that you'll have like the climax of the movie, and then they'll put an ad in there for marketing, maybe like a Porsche in the James Bond movies. That's anchoring you to go and buy a Porsche, or to see Porsche as a savior, you know, come in at the chic moment. So NLP is so powerful. And you know, sometimes people will say, oh, she just got NLP'd. That's because that person doesn't know about NLP. And we don't want to stay in the dark about NLP. It is such a powerful, if I want to say, it's like a language in itself. Because people who know about NLP, you can't hoodwink them. Like, nobody on TV can hoodwink us. And it'll be very hard for them once you're like a master trainer level, where you are like, you're consciously aware every single minute, because we're trained in that. People can't hoodwink you. You completely, like, your neurology can feel it, and you're vibrating at a different level. You are so vibrating at a different level that people, like, you can't get blindsided. Let me say that. You can get blindsided in your old programming because you haven't cleaned up something in the past, and then you need another coach to help you with your blindsidedness. But something that's happening in the future, usually you just can't be blindsided. You kind of know this is what is happening, and then you give permission, and you have a choice to go ahead with it, with that greater inductive language, inductive thinking, and not the thinking that's in a box, the thinking that has no box, the thinking that has no boundaries. And you know what has been said before, you can't really solve your problem with the tools that you've actually created your problem with. You need something outside of that. So with NLP, we have many, many different solutions and tools, and you learn so many more tools. It's crazy. I teach you 61 tools in my certification program, and each one of those tools is so powerful in itself. And the deeper you go and the deeper you learn about NLP, you start by removing the old blocks from your neurology. And then we install, because there's created space, there's released energy, there's so much more energy. Imagine you having so much of anger. Okay, this is with timeline therapy. So much of anger, and also with NLP, we loosen up the problem. And sometimes you can actually just release the entire problem, like say with different tools. Like a very powerful tool would be prime concerns, or submodality shift, or change, or your changing values. These are little tools that can change your entire life, because you're changing at the unconscious level, and you're hitting boundaries, you're passing the boundaries of the problem you've created. You've labeled, this is my problem, and you know your problem really well. And when you know your problem really well, you close yourself off in a box. And so you've actually created your problem in a box. And how do you get out of that kind of thinking? Because you're collapsed, you are really in a box. And even if you try, that's not a box, but anyway, even if you try to get out of the box with your own thinking that created it, it's hard because you need another position. We have another thing called a perceptual position, where you get out of the two-dimensional thinking and you have like a third person perception onto the two different scenarios and the perceptions of the way you look at it, at the problem. So that's why NLP is so powerful, because we're not doing linear thinking. We're thinking outside of that. We're doing inductive thinking. We're not thinking deductively, because when you have a problem, in deductive way, you have a problem and you deduce things from the facts and the syntax of that problem. But when you are using inductive thinking, you're thinking outside of the boundaries of that problem. So today what I did was, while serving at the master practitioner level, we are training other coaches who are practitioners to become master coaches. And we're talking today about solving a problem from outside and busting those boundaries. And how do we do it linguistically? How do we do it? We use quantum linguistics. And quantum linguistics is about using different types of logic that our brain can do, and we scramble the language that they're using. And when you have language, there's a neurology in your body, your physiology, that we scramble. And so when you're trying to access the problem, you can't access it anymore, because we've actually replaced it with resources that you realize during the process of it. So what we do is we get rid of the problem, it releases energy, and then we put another positive thing in it, and it's all done quantumly in the quantum field using quantum linguistics. So that is absolutely fabulous, right? This is the stuff I was born to do, right? So I'm really excited. Now, another thing about NLP is a thing called cause and effect. And I know that if you're watching this, you know about cause and effect, because I've been always talking to you about the decisions you made, and then, are you going to be at cause? Are you going to be living your life as an effect? And, the victim mentality that comes with the effect kind of living and thinking. So are you going to take responsibility for your own life? And that really comes down to one of the presuppositions of NLP, where we suppose that you come for coaching, or if you're a coach, you have clients who come for coaching, and that it's their responsibility for change, because I don't do anything to you. We do it together, and I just guide you through the process, and you do the process because your neurology is going to be changing. I mean, I can do my own process, but when you do the process and I just guide you with the proper words, then you doing the process. I'm not doing it for you. So when I tell you, close your eyes, whose responsibility is it? It's your responsibility whether you want to follow that instruction or not. And if you do close your eyes, and if I say, okay, now relax your eyes. So you relax it, now close it really tightly shut. Well, that was only me choosing to really shut my eye tightly, right? That was a choice. And I could do it, or I didn't have to do it. But the choice was mine. And I had to have that responsibility for changing, or to listen or not to listen, to follow the steps or not to follow the steps. So NLP goes into so many it's so vast. It is so much. Even at the practitioner level, the stuff I'm talking to you about is like pre-practitioner level. And I'm trying to make it really, really simple so that you can implement anything I am saying here, anything you want to take away, take away. But I'm going to be coming with an offer that is totally amazing, totally mind-blowing, only for you guys, those of you who are in my network right now. And if you're listening to this, fantastic. Hit me up for trainings if you're interested in NLP, because I'm running trainings in June, and I'm running certification, 4-in-1 certification in July. So please let me know. You'll be surprised at how much of a bargain this is, because it is the first training, and there's a special deal going on. So get to know the details and the fine print, and there is no real fine print, but there's all the details there. Nothing's hidden from you. Everything is on the table, and I want to share this with you. So what would you like in your life? What level of excellence did you want to learn in your life? And what level of excellence do you want to replicate in your life so you can expand this knowledge to everybody in your life? Like if you're a coach or you're a manager and you want to run your teams better, or if you're in corporate training and you want to train at the higher level, I teach you how to calibrate your clients, means measure neurologically and physiology of your clients and or your teammates or anybody you're working with. And if you're in a relationship, we teach you how to calibrate your partner. And you know what, that is so exciting, because you can have such better communication with your partner, such better communication and a deeper communication, and that openness when both of you are aligned. And so we have so many tools for the alignment as well. So if you're having relationship issues as well, then hit me up, because we have all these tools that can be applied in all different areas of your life. So this is so powerful. It's not about the content which you learn in a book. It's all about the process. So when you come into doing NLP with me, we actually go through the processes for all the tools. We practice on each other. You become the client, and then you also become the coach. So you get coached and you get this stuff, lots of stuff. I don't want to be rude and swear, but lots of stuff comes out from your body. It's gone. Anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, all of that can be gone. Your short-temperedness can be gone. What do you choose? What do you choose? What do you want to replace that with? Oh, somebody who's calm and peaceful, who makes good decisions from a nice place. Changing your state at will. If you're going for a job interview, how would you like to show up? If you're going to ask for a pay increase, how would you like to show up? Right. You'd like to be confident. You'd like to put your power move on. And it's not like affirmations where I feel good, and then like literally BSing yourself. Like you don't feel good because your body says something else, or you're trying to think of something good, feel those feelings, and then feel good. Yes, that you can do in a one-on-one coaching, and that will be temporary because your underlying problem hasn't been resolved, and that problem will come back because your anchor for when you created that good feeling will wear out. So what we do is we get rid of the underlying problem. And so when that is not there, and you don't have years and decades and centuries and millions of years of that stacked negative emotion of, say, anger or sadness or fear, shame, which is a really low vibrational energy frequency. So, your lower chakras are getting affected by that low vibration of shame and guilt and fear and animosity, like those kind of emotions are literally changing your chakras. And when your chakras are not balanced and not aligned, what happens? Dis-ease sets in. It's not at ease, right? So that's how this energy gets stuck into your body. But I'm also an energy healer, and I can tell you for sure, once you remove the energy, how come in 3 weeks that energy is back in your body? And then you have to do another sound healing thing, and then you have to go and do another meditation camp, or you have to do something more. Why? Because once you release the energy, it's empty. You need to fill it with something good. And how do we do that? We fill it in with learnings that we've had. And how do we do that? It's from the unconscious mind, not from the conscious mind. So most people will be doing this at the conscious level. So you will not have that real foundational change. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about transformation. I'm not talking about just change for today and tomorrow. I'm talking about permanent transformation. When you see something, like if you see somebody naked, you can't unsee it because you've seen it. Like you just can't just stop thinking of that, right? Like it's like that. Once you have your transformation, you can't undo it. Like there's no way you can undo it, because the neurology and your physiology, your state, the way you vibrate is next level. You can't go back. You won't want to go back, right? So this is the power of NLP mixed together with, I haven't even talked to you about timeline therapy. I haven't even talked to you about hypnosis, which is absolutely wonderful. But I'll talk to you about that in the next coming videos. And I'll be talking to you about that within the next month. But right now, I really want to focus on NLP because I've got that a special, a really limited time special, only for June. You get that in 1 month. So it is only a few weeks away, and it's starting in the second week of June. So if you want to grab that, it's really, really, if you're a pensioner and you're a student, let me put it this way, you get to pay whatever it is you want. If you're a business owner, we'll have a chat and we'll work out a deal. And I do have a baseline for business owners, and I do have a baseline for concession card holders and people who are students and people who are disadvantaged, okay, for special circumstances, because I want to change the planet. I want to transform and share this transformation I have had with these modalities that I do, and I want to help other people. This is time to give back. This is, the thanks I want to give to everybody who's been on my journey. That's why it is open to you guys who are on my network. And I really want this for you. I want you to take this. Don't feel bad that it's so affordable. I want you to take it, and I want you to also to give back. So you're going to get the value, whatever value you put into it. And in investment, that's the amount of value you're going to get out of it. So people who are doing it for free, yeah, they're going to up-level their life in a certain way. But people who are paying more, it's an exchange of value. And in NLP, you have this thing called responsibility for value. So you know how when you buy a blender, when you buy a blender, you might buy the top-notch blender, but if you put it on in the cupboard and you never use it, that blender had no value to you. It did not add any value to your life. The responsibility for value is up to you. So whatever value you get is up to you. So if you use your blender and you use it more and more and more, you get all the value you can from that $3,000 blender. Or if you have, that's a top-notch blender. But if you have like $100 blender and you can only whip up soft veggies, then that's what you're going to get, right? So the amount that you're going to invest in yourself is up to you. That is totally up to you. But remember, the value you get from it, that is your responsibility. that is totally onto you. And the amount of return on investment you want from that blender is also totally up to you. So the energy exchange we have has to be something that you really are committed for your self-growth. And I would love to see you transform. I want to see you transform. I want this for you. I want to see you succeed. This is what my calling is. You all know that, right? I want to see each one of you succeed. I want to see you up the top there with me. I want to see you in my trainings. I want you to have this gift. I want you to flourish. I want your relationships to be amazing. I want to create beauty. I want to create peace. I want to create love. And I want to create communication that's healthy. I want to create people not fighting. We have enough fighting in this world. I want to see people, when they go to work, that they're not going to be felt like they're being bossed around. I want them to have the words to stand up for themselves and feel assertive and to feel that they can stand up for themselves. I want them to be able to, I want you to be able to go and ask for that raise. And sometimes you might not feel it congruent in yourself that, oh, okay, maybe my performance is not good. How can I ask for the raise? But we're going to deal with that. We're going to get your performance to go up. Your communication is going to elevate it's going to take the roof off. And your communication is going to be out of this world, right? I've had confidence, clients who's come in for confidence building. He has given me the absolute best testimonial I could ask for. I'm going to share it with you. The only reason it's being held up right now because I'm in this training, so I can't share it right now with you. But it came in today, and it just lit me up with this beautiful testimonial that this training that I'm doing has changed his life. I've done a coaching session, 5 or 6 coaching sessions with him, and it was a breakthrough session for confidence. Absolutely, I've used NLP techniques to completely scramble his brain. I've used, logical levels of sequential coaching, and I've used prime concerns, and I've used, what's the other one? Cartesian logic and quantum linguistics. So it was really amazing that to just transform somebody's life in 5 hours, boom. Like, I've done 14 years of being a client in the psychologist room with talk therapy and many doctors and social workers and you name it, I've been there with nurses and doctors and lawyers. I have been there and I know what it's like. And would you not like to be standing up in front of a judge in court and having your say and being totally honest and totally congruent with who you are on the inside? And then they see it, because you can't muck up your eye patterns, right? Because inside you, I'm speaking the truth, and they can feel it. And so you live your life with congruence, with absolute alignment with you and your divinity within you. So I teach you how to do that. I also teach you that if somebody is lying to you, especially if you're a HR manager, like I worked as a job consultant, and we had to literally filter people who come in and see if they're lying to us, if they applying for their jobs or not, and then we cut off their Centrelink benefits. And I've had many death threats, and it wasn't very kind and very nice. And so I'm just going and just flash back to all those events. What I was saying is that you can learn these techniques. You can learn if my eye is going to this quadrant, if it's going to that quadrant and going down to this quadrant and going down to this quadrant, and what my eye is doing, and is it congruent to what I'm speaking. And if I'm right-handed, if I'm left-handed, and if I'm taught to be right-handed, and if I'm taught to be left-handed or whatever. Nobody ever taught to be left-handed, but with being ambidextrous, you can. but then what is your running program? So we learn how to filter out what the internal languages are of the other person. Now, wouldn't that be amazing if you're a real estate agent? If you were selling property, wouldn't that be really great? And what about if you were selling property and you needed to negotiate on a price with the seller, negotiate on a price with the buyer? I know how these things work because I was in property before. And I tell you, wow. And if you're also a developer, because that's what a family was doing, and I tell you, this stuff works, and you can literally weed out who you want to work with. So the liars, go. People who are honest, you stay with them. And the people who you really who are in your circle, you know if they're lying to you. You know if they're being honest to themselves. Some people, they might be lying to themselves, and then, you know, they're telling you a story. And then you figure out their eye patterns and what's congruent happening inside of them. And then you know, oh, this person, what's happening inside of them? What are they thinking? And it's really loud. It's really loud without them saying anything, but just your eye patterns. Wouldn't that be so powerful to know? Wouldn't that be so powerful to make money? And I know that if you're listening to this, you're going to be in your core a good person wanting to help everybody else, and also helping yourself first, because, you know, self-love comes first. And, you know, taking care of your family, taking care of the people you love, and spreading that love, spreading the joy. I am sure that you will make the right choice, you know, when you start in this momentum. So I know it's about 37 minutes, and it's fantastic because this is my passion. I've dedicated my life to this, and I want this amazing success for you. I've talked to you about career. I've talked to you about getting jobs. I've been talking to you about management. I've been talking to you about real estate. I've spoken to you about relationships. Only very briefly, let me talk to you about health. I healed myself from 5 autoimmune disorders using these techniques. Now, if you want to know more, come and talk to me. Okay? Because this stuff works. And if you change the internal dialogue in here, your body starts changing. And if you can change this, you learn how to master your body, and you will not be in that dis-ease anymore. I can show you how. And this is core to my healing. This is absolutely core to my healing. I was bedridden in 2013, and then in October, and then in 2014 again. So I had weeks of that in around April and 2014. So I know what it is to be completely feeling disabled. And then after that, my brain, I did not have the full brain capacity. Like I was, you know, my previous life, network engineer qualifications, and, you know, those things that, you know, you do when you're little. And I did business. I was training people in business and in IT at TAFE. And so from that, and having so much of trauma, severe trauma riddled through my body, and not knowing how to get out of it, I found that NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and timeline therapy, hypnosis, and energy healing, yoga, meditation, surrender, deep surrender, non-attachment to the outcome. And that really, taking care of my body, taking care of my mind, that needs to happen first. And then you do these other things to maintain and keep it at that higher level, higher state. It's not one therapy that's this or that and that, because then the energy comes back. That same old ways come back, and you find people who've like overcome a disorder or a disease, and then they're in remission. We don't believe in remission. You either have it or you don't, and then for that moment it's gone, and that's it. There is no remission. People say, oh, I'm a cancer a person who's recovered from cancer. I'm like, what is with that identity? Like, you are a healed person. Your body is a vibrant body. Don't talk of that, because the more we think and talk about that, it comes into our current present cells, neurology in our body, in our mind, and we're reseeding that label that you just gotten rid of. So how do you talk about your body? How do you talk about your mind? All of that, I teach you how to do that. And then you maintain it and you make sure you practice it. It's little steps that get you to where you need to be. And they say Rome was not built in one day. Well, imagine if Rome was built in one day. How screwed up would that be? Like, seriously? Have you thought of it? I listened to that somewhere on some meme, and I was like, yeah. How screwed up would it be? You wouldn't want Rome to be built in one day. So we do small steps, we do tasking, we reinforce it, we reiterate it, we check again with your languaging, we check again with the way you're connecting with your mind, your body, and the way all of that works. And then we reach that state of excellence. Now, I don't have all the money in the world, and nobody does. Like, how can you have all the money in the world? Because I have my money, and that person doesn't have my money. So there can never be somebody who has all the money in the world. Like, it cannot. But you can't never say never, right? You never say never, because who knows? They might get rid of the thing called money, and then nobody has money because there's a different currency. Yeah, it might be Bitcoin, it might be gold, it might be stones. Anyway, it won't be stones. I'm just being funny. All right, so it's just coming back to, where do you want to be in your life? Like, really, what modeling of excellence, where do you want to be? Exactly, be precise. Tell it. What is that word? What is that number? Out of 100%, what's the first number that comes into your head? We only deserve 100%. So if it's anything less than that, something needs to be done. So that's my model of my world. And whatever you are modeling right now is whatever you have been modeling in your mind. So whatever you're modeling in this world, if you're not having enough money, you don't have a good relationship, if you don't have the best hair or the best physique or the best health, all of those are from modeling inside your mind. Now, how do we get rid of that? We learn the process of modeling. And so I teach you that. How cool is that? Would you want that? Yes, everybody wants that. Do you want to do the work? You have to do the work. You can't get nothing for nothing. Like, you have to do the work. Energy in equals energy out. You'll get whatever energy you put into the system. It's just science. You'll get the energy out. I love physics. I love this stuff. When I came across NLP, it is so mathematical, but it's so simple. You don't have to learn the maths behind it. You just have to learn the process of how, the simple steps. And it doesn't have to make sense. Because remember, I said to you, when I was in 2014, my brain did not work very well. And even I was in 2020, I was really struggling with this. And I did my master practitioner in NLP. It was absolutely fantastic, because that's the first time I actually started walking without pain on an icy cold winter. It was May that time. In 2020 or 2021, and I was doing my master prac, and I was walking without pain, and I did a Facebook Live to show you that, and it was fabulous. Like, I was blown out of my mind in disbelief, but of course I believed it too, because I knew how this stuff works. It of course makes sense, but it was unbelievable to physically see my feet walking on the tile, my terracotta tiles out of my balcony. And I remember that moment so clearly because I shared it with you. I shared that moment with you. And so you can go back in my past and have a look at them. But I just want to say that you can have that too. I had lupus before, and it's before a life that I had before. That's not my life. That's not my identity. My identity now is so completely different. It is so totally different. I don't vibrate from a place of victimhood. Like, yes, I did maybe that time, compared to that time to where I'm now, that was total victimhood. And I'm not saying you do that. I'm just saying be aware of the thoughts that you are. I labeled myself then, and I don't label myself now with victimhood because I'm not that. And you be conscious of what you're labeling yourself with. Anyway, my time is up. I'm just so pleased and so blessed to be sharing this stuff with you. It is the greatness. Sharing this absolute greatness that has changed and transformed my life, and I want that for you. So I know if you're still listening, just hit like, share this with somebody who you know or who you've been listening to this for. Contact me. Just DM me down the bottom, comment on this. I would love to hear from you. Enroll in my class, enroll in my course, enroll in the Master Practitioner course, because see what happens is, I'm going to talk again if you've got 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, because I just love to talk about this stuff. But when you start school, you really don't know what you don't know. That's unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know. And then you start school and you go, I know my ABCDs and I know my numbers. That's kind of like the foundational stuff in NLP. Like, you learn the basic what it is. You learn what. And then when you come and you learn more about it, you learn so now you're becoming competent. When you learn the what it is you're becoming competent. And then you're learning how it actually changes your own neurology. So you're getting a little bit of experience in playing with the tools and having the fun of finding out how it can change your life. And then you're having these breakthrough moments that, it just like boom in your mind. You're like, whoa, that happened. Like today we had a few people who are like, boom, wow, I can't believe such a simple process has changed so much that now I can actually be motivated and do whatever I have to do in my day. So that's so you have your unconscious incompetence, where you don't know what you don't know. Then you have your conscious competence. Then you have your unconscious competence, where you're almost in that flow state where you know how to do everything, you know the processes and how to do it. And when you know the processes and you know all this basic stuff and it's all in your neurology, just like Mozart, he can come up with some great, fantastic piece of music. And then it's not only that, he goes into his intuition, or the other level where you can create your own. Let me add that little note. Let me add this little tweak. Let me add this little thing. And let me start experimenting. And that's at the master trainer level. And so when you've actually done your foundational, and then you do your master practitioner, so you do your practitioner, you do your master practitioner, then you teach other people how to do it. When you can teach other people how to do it, that's you're already a master at the lower level, and then you're teaching others, you become even more experienced. It's running in your neurology. You can train other people. You can feel it even more. And you become it at the next level. So you become your master. You master your mind. You master your body. You master your life at the master level, master trainer level. So that's where I'm at. And I am so looking forward to graduating. I've spent already, well, this is my last year for that. So I'm really excited. That's why I'm coming out with this beautiful program for you at that level, and you get all of that trained at that level, but you're paying very little compared to what you're getting. Like, you literally are so lucky, so blessed to be having this offer. Give me a call and we'll talk about it, because it is so powerful and it will change your life. And I'm really looking forward to talking to you. So pick up the phone. Nobody else can do it for you. Only you can. And this is your moment. Pick up the phone or press that button and comment, or DM me. Hit that little thing that you can DM me, and we shall talk. We shall talk success. We shall talk transformation. We shall talk where you want to be. So think about that. What do you want to choose? What do you want to change? How do you want to be? How do you want to decide? Everything that's important. That's the core importance in your life. Everything that runs your entire life. We'll be talking about that. So don't be scared, because it's all in baby steps, and it's not me running your life. It's you making those choices, and how you would like your life to be. How would you like to have your dream life? How does that look? And how would your relationships look? Beautiful, engaging, deep conversations with things that you love to talk about. Even more love, feeling more loved, giving more love, your capacity to love and share. All of that changes on such a big, deeper level. Like, I'm totally not the same person that I was 10 years ago, even 2 years ago. I'm just totally not that person anymore. It's just totally different. So I want to encourage you, and I invite you to contact me, and let's make this happen. Let's finally make this happen for you. I love it. This is your opportunity. Go for it. All right. Thank you very much for holding space for me to share this beautiful journey with you, and inviting you and being open to the invite. And last thing to do is hit that comment button or hit that talk to me button. Talk to you soon.